Hey, it's Shana. Welcome to Controlled Chaos, the podcast where we dive into the world of recovery, sharing stories of experience, strength, and hope from those who have been there and made it through. No matter where you are in your battle with addiction, alcoholism, or mental health struggles, know that there is a way out. Throughout my sobriety journey, I have often felt alone and doubted my ability to even stay sober. Starting this podcast in my room just 2 months ago, I had a dream of reaching people just like me, those who felt hopeless. As a woman in recovery, I began with 0 followers, but with a dream of offering hope to even just one person. The mission of this podcast is to connect, inspire, and provide hope to those feeling lost or struggling with addiction. Remember, the opposite of addiction and isolation is sobriety and connection. Let's come together through the Controlled Chaos podcast and support each other on the journey to healing and growth. Hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and let's build a community of support and understanding. Love you mucho. Welcome to Controlled Chaos. My name is Shana. I'm your host today, and this is Ashley. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you?
Yes, thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate that, girl.
Yeah.
My name is Ashley, and I am 44. I'm a single mama of 2 beautiful girls, and I have 8 years in recovery. Praise God.
Yay.
Yes.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, how you got there, right? What was life like that brought you into kind of addiction?
I did not have my father. Now that I've done a lot of healing, I've understood that my mom and dad got divorced when I was 3, and my dad was an alcoholic, and he was mean to my mom, and my mom got us out of there when I was 3 years old. So I never realized not having my father caused so much issues with me, so much abandonment, so much sadness. I was so jealous of other girls when I seen them with their dad, and that led me into just doing the things, smoking, drinking on the weekends. And then I started messing around with harder things, getting with the wrong people. I needed to feel something. And I blamed my mom for a long time, and because I just didn't know. I didn't know any better. And I lived with my grandma for a lot, and then she passed away. And then I had a lot more issues, just again, abandonment, loneliness, all those things. And then I really started getting into the needle. And once I did that, it was full force. And went to federal prison, in and out of jail, rehab after rehab, many unalive attempts. And then
wait. I feel like you skipped a lot. Like what?
Okay.
How did you go to prison? How did you what happened?
I started selling drugs or pills at that time. I'm 44. So at that time it was the pill mills. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So got into the pills, and just so I could supply my heroin addiction, and was driving. I'm in West Virginia. So we were going back and forth to Florida. And at that time, there wasn't no connection to anything. So you could I was going to 10 doctors and going to 10 different pharmacies. As long as you had cash, you could do what you had to do.
So what you're saying is now how when you get controlled substances, it's in the system and the doctors can track it. At
Yes,
that time, there wasn't that kind of system. So if your doctor wrote the prescription and you could pay for it, you could have it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
So super easy to get whatever you wanted back then. And I was bringing them back to West Virginia and selling them. And what's so funny is, well, it's not funny, but my father actually remarried. My real father actually remarried, and he had a new family. So he had 3 boys with my stepmother, and me and my youngest stepbrother connected. And I connected with him so hard because I wanted my dad. Okay.
Yeah.
And I did have an opportunity a few times to go to my father's. He lived in this very rich neighborhood. He had all the things, it was a gated community. And I just felt, I don't know, I finally felt a part of them, but I wasn't allowed to be there, if that makes sense. We were just my brother was sneaking me there. My father met me a few times, and then it got to the point that they were like, you're not allowed to come back anymore. But me and my youngest brother, my stepbrother, we started selling dope together. And he actually wore a wire on me. And that
So
was
were
when
you not allowed at your dad's house because of the drugs?
no, because I really don't know. They never gave me an answer. At that time, they didn't know I was on drugs. So my stepmother had another son too. Okay, his name was Adam, and we used to go there a couple times when I was a kid. I can remember them getting into a fight, my father and my stepmom, saying that I wasn't allowed over if Adam wasn't allowed over, and Adam wasn't allowed over if I wasn't allowed over. So I can remember meeting him maybe twice, and then we were never allowed to go back there again. So I'm not sure what happened.
So maybe it was kind of like a jealousy thing between them.
I think so. And, who knows what problems they were having. I weren't there. So, there's always two sides to every story. So I think so. And, I can remember that being so upset and like, man, I just want my dad, and, another thing that I can remember going there, girl, is when I'd go there, they would take me and him to get clothes because I guess our clothes wasn't enough to be seen with them, right? So she would take us and we would get all these expensive clothes. And I can remember as a kid how stupid and ugly they were, but it was like, I don't know, it was just, I wasn't used to stuff like that, I guess, right? My mom was a single mom, and I got things that I wanted, but we weren't up there like they was. Does that make sense? So yeah. I can remember, we would get there and we would have to take our clothes off and use their clothes, the new clothes that they got us. It was just crazy. And it wasn't until I started healing and remembering all that, I was like, man, maybe we were embarrassment to them, me and Adam, who knows? You just don't know, because I was never able to talk to them or ask. Even to this day, when my grandmother passed, I seen my father, and I actually went up to him and I said, I forgive you, because I needed to do that for my recovery. And he just looked at me like I was crazy and said, well, okay, Ashley, I appreciate it, and just walked away. And I knew at that point, that's not my problem, because I blame myself, girl. Like, I was like, maybe he don't want me because I was a girl, because he had all boys. Maybe, I wasn't rich enough for him. Like, I just always had these things in my mind. Why was I not accepted by them? So now I know that's not my problem. That was not my problem. So I'm sure that caused a lot of issues with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a lot. So I went to jail when he wore a wire on me. And then they wanted me to turn on everybody. And I said, nope. Because, back then when you do your crime, you do your time. That's how we were raised. So they took me I went to federal prison. And then I got out, and I remember even in prison, there's no rehabilitation. You get locked up, and then they have a drug program, but there's no mental rehabilitation. You have to heal that. And everybody in prison, we'd be in the psych line, because that's how we were getting high off of psych drugs. And it was wild. And then, I got out and I'm like, I'm not going to go to opiates. I'm staying off of opiates. But in my mind, I still wasn't healed, and I needed to medicate. So I started doing speeds, because I was like, well, I'm not going to get sick. I'll be all right. I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to detox like I would off of opiates. So that started a whole thing. Started learning how to cook speed and all these other things. And it wasn't until God blessed me at 34 and I got pregnant. And that's when my whole life started turning around, and I started fighting for my baby. Now, it wasn't perfect by no means. I got out, and I messed around still here after I had my baby, messed around here a little bit, smoked a little bit here, but it wasn't till I got pregnant my second time at 37. And I finally got on my hands and knees and cried out for God. And that's when I never looked back. So I have been 8 years clean since then, continue to fight for my babies, because I don't want them to go through hell like I did. We have to stop that generational curse on them. And even their daddy got clean. That. Yeah, it's just.
So do they have the same dad?
They do. Yes, they have the same dad.
And you said he got clean. Are you guys still together, or are you guys separated?
Separated. So he got clean. He got clean a couple years after me. So we separated because he just wouldn't stay clean. And he was always with some girl. And so we separated, and he finally got caught stealing. He went to jail for probably the 100th time. And he said he was done. He was ready to have a family, all those things. So he gets out. We bring him back. He comes to live with us. He did so good. He built his own tree company. He was so successful. He was doing so good, but he never healed, and he was almost 5 years clean, and I found out he was cheating on me again. And I was done. I was done with it. Because he had left me when we had Zeta. That was my second daughter. He left me in the hospital with her. I had her by myself, because he went and got high. And he actually got arrested there in the hospital. It was so embarrassing, because I was like, man, they're going to take my kids away because they came and arrested him here. They didn't. And then this last time I was like, I'm just done. And he left with that girl. And 3 days later, cops came to my door, and he was found unalived. He relapsed and died. So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And that was my worst fear, because I didn't want my girls not to have a father, like I did. Right. And here it is. It's like the same. It's to me, I'm very spiritual now. I believe in the Lord, and it's just the things I've learned. It's a generational curse. I'm a single mom. My mom was a single mom. Her mom was a single mom. Her mom was a single mom. It's just like,
So I have a question, because I've kind of thought back and forth about this too. My ex-husband, my daughter's father, passed away about 3 years ago, and not due to drugs. He'd never done anything like that a day in his life. We were already divorced, but it brings me comfort, even though I am a single mom and was a single mom. It brings me comfort that she didn't just not have a dad, right? She had a dad that loved her. He had his flaws. He was a dog, right? He wasn't always there the way he should have been. But we take into consideration like how he was raised and the things he had been through. And he loved my daughter with his whole heart. And he gave the best he had. Does that make sense? So for me, that brings me comfort, right? Because I feel like even though he's gone, and even though I was a single parent, right? She had a dad that loved her. She has a dad that loves her. He's not here. He's in heaven. And I think that when I hear your story too, like he tried. And some of us have demons that we, for some reason, we can't shake, right? We can't, and not demons, but like bad things, bad habits, whatever, that we can't for some reason figure out or heal. Does it make you feel differently about him per se than you feel about like your dad, who just, and not to be insensitive, but really just seemed to not care, right?
No,
or not show that he cared.
No, and I totally agree. Just like how you feel about your kid's father, same thing. TJ tried, and I know he loved us. I know he loved all of us. I know he did, and he would bend backwards for us. And he got my girls, everything and anything. Not that money buys love, but I know he loved us. And just
that's like some people's only way to show it. Like, yeah. I remember even in my alcoholic days, my kids would say, like, you can't fix this. You can't fix it with money. You can't fix it. Because even as an alcoholic, I would like hustle. I would get money. I would pay our rent. I would get them the phone. And my kids would be like, you can't fix what you did with money. And I would be like, I'm not trying to, but it's true that I felt like I'm fixing it. Like, what is your problem? You want an iPhone? You can't pay your car payment? I'll fix it. Can you be nice to me now?
Yes,
Can
no,
you stop
I get
being
it.
mad at me? But
right.
That was my only way that I knew how to fix things.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am, it does. Yes. And that's the same way with him. I know he loved, but his history, he couldn't get rid of those demons. And I believe they're demons. I do. I'm just spiritual like that. Like his mom died very early of drug addiction. His dad is on drugs. Like, he did the best he could. And I know even when he left this last time with the girl, I know he didn't want to. And what's crazy, girl, is when I told him, I said, you just got to go. You just got to go, because I just was done. But I knew he loved us. But I told my girls had never seen us fight. Okay. So this was 10, 9, 8. My girls was 7 going on 8 and 7, 6, 5, 4 going on 5. And they had never seen us fight. But I knew when he packed that garbage bag, I looked at my girls and said, you need to hug your daddy because I don't think he's coming back. And as crazy as that sounds, I already felt it. I knew what was going to happen. And it's just like, man. And then when that did happen, I was like, man, oh man, because, I just stepped back and I'm like, did it happen on purpose or did he make it happen because he was just so, he knew, like he just couldn't shake things. And he was not that he was prideful. I'm not talking bad about him at all, but it's like, he had told me before when he was raised that his dad told him a man is a man don't cry, a man don't show emotion, a man gets up and goes to work and takes care of his family, and that's how a man does. So he always had that instilled in his mind. If he tried to even talk with me, he would always be like, now, I'm not being a wussy. But, and I'm be like, well, why would you say that? So it's just a bunch of words. Words stay with you. Words are life and death. So it's like, it's how he was raised. He did the best he could do. And I just really feel like I wish he would have talked, but that was not how he was raised. So I agree. He was a great person and he took care of us. And there's just a lot of things he just didn't know how to heal.
The only reason I even asked that question is just because, like, sometimes I feel like we're trying to get out of like these patterns, right? And we look and we're like, oh, I did the same thing. And it's like, no, you really didn't. You really didn't. You really changed up. First of all, you got sober. Second of all, you found somebody who had a heart and who was there and who cared and who maybe couldn't shake it and it maybe didn't work out. But that's not the same as like just not having a dad, right?
Right.
And I think that's important to look at. Like, it's important for me because it's like, I would think, like I'm trying to break these like generational curses. Like I remember growing up and seeing my dad's mom and thinking like, what is wrong with her? Like when she was super old and I would watch her like not be able to walk, like she was tipsy and things. And like, I'm like, what is wrong? And I finally figured out that she was an alcoholic, right? And I was like, I don't want to be like that. Like, that's crazy. You look crazy out in public like that, right? But that's exactly what I started to do. Well, I did for many years, but I stopped. And that changes things for our children, right? It does.
Yeah. And I never looked at the father thing like that. Thank you. Because I needed that. I never looked at it like it is totally different. Like my dad just said, basically, screw you. He did try, thank you for that because I never looked at it like that. Thank you.
Sorry, I have coach moments even in the middle of random shit.
No, that's good like, because no, I needed that. I needed that.
And we don't give ourselves credit. We are making changes. First of all, when he wasn't doing right, you were like, I can't do this anymore. My kids are who I have to take care of, right? Like, those are the choices that are right that keep our kids safe. Okay, moving on.
That's good,
moving on, girl. Okay, so he passes away and you're left with these girls, and you have all girls, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And what does it look like from there then? How has life been?
Well, when he passed, everything shattered down because I haven't worked. I haven't worked since I've never really had a job, to be honest with you. Okay. Everybody's always took care of me. If it wasn't my mom, it was my grandma, if it, all these things, and it was him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And a couple years before his passing, we get lost in motherhood. That's not a bad thing, but I had just started my recovery, full of my recovery. And I got addicted to motherhood, and it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just, I was so lost on who I was. I didn't even know what my favorite color was. I had nothing, no idea. So I started online, just looking around, trying to find things to do online. And never in my life did I ever wear makeup. Okay. But I kept watching these girls put on this makeup. And anyways, I get the stupid makeup and I fall in love with it. So I actually started an online business selling makeup. Well, I did not know, being an entrepreneur, that you needed all this mindset and all this stuff. So I never really did. I never really went full force in, because I was always beating myself up, self-sabotage. I wasn't good enough, comparison, all those things. So I was just tiptoeing back and forth. So when he passed away, I had to pull my big girl panties up and I started full force. So not only do I do makeup online, but I have a mental health business that I do online. And let me tell you, God just opened doors after doors after doors. We keep him alive. Okay. We send balloons to heaven for him. My girls, I've never say one bad thing. We keep him alive all the time, because that's my girl's daddy. And, I can remember being a kid, my mom always talked bad about my dad, and it's okay. It's okay. He was a bad person, but I don't want my girls to have those thoughts. I want them to be just as naive, and just as, I don't want words to stay with them like they have with me, because that hurts.
Well, even if it's true, right? Kids take on that responsibility. Like, my dad, it's my fault. It's because of me. It's because,
right.
And you take that on, and you take that with you.
Right. Yeah. Because, girl, even to this day, if I see my dad and he came and he said, "Hey, I'm sorry," I would be like, "It's good. We're good." Because not
Do
only.
you think he ever will feel that way? Do you think he feels that way and he can't say because of his marriage? Or
that's how I just came to be with it. That's how it's really calmed me. Not that I'm blaming her, because we can't blame other things, right? But I'm just like, why else? Why else would it be like that? So it has to be, because I know she don't see that other guy, her other son. So I'm like, okay, there has to be something there. So that's how I see it. And I'm good with that. So yeah. But yeah, so we've been doing good. God has just totally blessed us. And of course I struggle. Of course we all have thoughts and things, but sometimes I believe doors have to close so others can open, because I don't think I would be who I am today, or where I would be, if that didn't happen. And I don't want that to sound mean or but
I agree. Even in my situation, I don't even think, had my daughter's dad, had he not passed away, I don't know that I would have gotten sober. I wasn't sober at the time, and I was dying of alcoholism, right? And my plan, because I didn't know how to fix it, I had tried to get sober so many times. I just really thought, like, well, when I die, you better take these kids, because, like, he had never drank. His mom was an alcoholic, so he was the football coach, and he was this and that. And I was like, okay, well, I have a backup plan. And when he left, I was like, who the hell's gonna take care of all these kids? Like, you're gonna have to get it together. And it still took me a minute, but, like, knowing. And then also, I wasn't able to make it to his funeral because I was drunk and shaky and whatever. I couldn't get on the plane, right? I couldn't make it a week there in front of all those people.
Of course.
And I didn't want them to see me either. I was, of course, with him, married to him for like 10 years. They all thought all these good things of me because I was younger. They hadn't seen me this way. And I was like, no way am I showing my face. And then after, it was like, you couldn't even be there for your kid when her father passed away, somebody you were with since you were 18 years old. Like, you need to get your shit together, like hard and fast. And I did. And I also think that God just aligned things. Like, things started to come up that I hadn't tried before, and people in my life that helped me. It definitely was a God thing. But had he not passed, I would have probably died of alcoholism, to be truthful.
Yeah, it's wild how things have to happen so other things can happen. Like,
yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. We kind of got a little bit of a similar story, but your business, girl, tell us about your business, how it's going, the mental health business, all of that.
Yeah, so I love doing it. I love helping people, and mental health is such a strong passion for me. It goes back. And like, just learning things like, I didn't understand, like, your gut. I sell gut products. I don't know if you know about the gut, but your gut is your second brain. Okay. And it's linked to your brain. And what happens in your gut happens in your brain. And I had no idea your gut is the main issue for, mental health issues, weight issues, hormones, all these things. And if you would get your gut in order, of course, you still have to work on yourself. One thing's not going to change your life.
You know what, though? I have heard that, and I do know they say like 90% of your serotonin is actually made in your stomach. I took Happy Juice for a while. I hated how I felt.
Really?
Is that what you take, is Happy Juice?
Yes, it has changed my life.
I didn't like how I felt. I tried really hard. I tried it for like 2 months, I think. I felt really weird.
Did you take the one with caffeine?
I think I had both and I like rotated, but I drink caffeine in real life. Like I drink coffee. I lived off Mountain Dew at the time. I've lost like 140 pounds now, so I've like cut a lot of that out. But I take the Zepbound shot. I tried Happy Juice, and I do believe that to be true.
So for some reason,
it made me feel funny.
Made you feel weird. How did it make you feel?
Anxious, like too anxious. And I am very sensitive to stuff. Like I can't drink too much coffee. I can't drink like certain stuff. Like I'll get anxious. So I don't know if it had to do with the caffeine, but then I feel like I tried to cut out the caffeine one. Like I tried the other one and I still felt the same. So it must have been something in one of the, so I put the 3 products together all the time.
Yes.
And it must have been something in it, but I'll talk to you about it later. But I was like, I believe that because I read it and I researched it, but no, I didn't love it.
That's wild. Yeah, we'll talk about that later because I want to talk to you about that. But what's funny is how I came across that. I was, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she was having a lot of belly issues and nobody could fix her. And we were at her pediatrician every week for a month. And all they kept doing was giving her this medication for that medication, this medication. And it was making it worse. And because I was already working online, you know how you get your stories and all the things. And I just lost it one day and was crying and was like, somebody's got to fix my daughter. So anyway, this lady just messages me and she said, it sounds like your daughter's having gut issues. And I was like, what? And I literally was like, okay, what? Because I didn't know how important your gut was. And I brushed her off. Well, then like a few days later, that just kept staying in my mind. So I messaged her. I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? So anyway, she explained to me, she didn't have the product. She was just teaching me about how important the gut was. So I was like, okay, so because I do direct sales, I always like to help other people. I just like to support other people that do it. So I got on my stories and I said, okay, if you sell gut health products, I need all your recommendations. I'm looking for my daughter something. So it was super easy to break it down because not a lot of products are kid friendly and she's a kid. So it brought it down to 2 products. And I did go to Happy Juice just because I like the name of it. And she was on it for almost 2 months and everything just stopped. And I said, what in the world is this? So I didn't even start for myself. After it helped her, I said, okay, what is this magic stuff? So that's when I started and it just totally just changed my life. And I'm like, okay, I gotta tell the world about this. So I love it. I love making videos. I love teaching people. I love talking to them about the love of Jesus. I was made for videos. I love it so much. TikTok is my favorite platform. But yeah, I love what I do.
I'm not following you on TikTok. I need to follow you there. Okay. So tell us where people can find you if they want to reach out to you on any platform.
So on Instagram and TikTok, it's the same picture everywhere, but Instagram and TikTok is at the Ashley Bragg. And then on Facebook, it's Ashley McGuire Bragg.
Okay. And then what is your life like today? We missed that part. What are your favorite things about sobriety and about life today?
Just learning who I am, being able to get up and not be sick, being with my girls and teaching them about Jesus. I love the little things. It's the grass, it's the sun, it's being alive, it's just being able to just be free. It's the freedom because, when you're in addiction, you wake up and it's a constant hunt. And even when you get what you want, you're still miserable. You know what I mean? Like there's never, and I don't know, I was never onto alcohol, but I know with drug addiction, maybe you're numb for 3 seconds, but you get used to everything. So it's just constantly searching and stressing and robbing and just hurting people and lies and just, it's horrible. It's chaotic. And people always say, well, why do you stay in it? Because when you're in it, you just have no hope. You don't know how to get out of it. It's not that you want to be there. Nobody wakes up and says, hey, I want to be a junkie. I mean, it just don't work like that. It just, you fall into that. And then once you get so deep, you don't know how to get out. But it's just the freedom. I love learning who I am. And I'll tell you, at 44, I'm finally proud of myself. I'm finally proud of myself. And the little girl in me is finally happy. So that's what I love.
I love that. So I want to talk about one more thing that I never ever talk about. Yeah. So this is crazy, but I'm going to bring it up anyways.
Let's do it.
You're going to die when you see what it is, because it's so, I don't even know what the word is. Your freaking skin. So I know you sell skincare products, and I'm not really like a huge direct sales girly, because for me, whenever I try to sell that stuff, I always end up spending money and it doesn't work and it pisses me off. But I'm so glad it works for you. You have the personality.
I love it. And
but listen, I hater about it. But I will tell you, I can literally see. So I know you do this Korean skincare. You have no freaking makeup on and your face is freaking glowing. So you might as well tell us what you're rocking, because I know everybody wants to know. You don't got a pimple in sight or a wrinkle.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, I just started this Korean skincare. It's been about a month, and I'm telling you, listen, when you hit 40, okay, I'm not sure how old you are, but when you hit 40, your whole dang body starts changing, okay?
Like, I have so many pimples and so much makeup on, I can't even. And I'm sitting here looking like, you don't have a drip of makeup on.
No, and I'm telling you, I do get Botox. I ain't gonna lie about that. I do get Botox, but I'm telling you what, it's so hard to find things for mature skin. And I have been searching and seeking for years now to find my perfect skincare. And I started this Korean skincare about a month ago. Y'all, listen, I'm telling you, it is legit. So yes, I did sign up. I do sell that too.
It's just you are the selling queen, girl. I'm like,
girl, I love it. I'm telling you, I love it. I love it. And I'm an open book. I know there's a lot of griminess out there with direct sales, and I know a lot of times, like how you said, you get frustrated because people say it works and it don't. I'm an open book. If it works, I tell you. If it don't, it don't. I don't love everything from every company that I'm at. I don't love it all, and I'm going to tell you, hey, yes, I love this, but I don't love this. I'm just open like that. But girl, I'm telling you, the Korean skincare is the bomb. Okay.
We don't know if it's the happy juice or the skincare, but something is like shining.
Well, I'm telling you, I've been on a happy juice for 16 months, and that's where my skin started really drastically changing. Seriously, that was the start of it. And then when I added this Korean skincare in, I have never used a skincare that worked so fast like this one. I mean, you can go back to my stuff and look, my face was not shiny. I love it, girl. And I don't even care to put makeup on no more. I'm all about the skin now. So I'm telling you, it's so good. But it's packed.
All right, girl.
Yeah, the Koreans are very into skin. So they look at skincare as a ritual. And if you think back, if you look at the Koreans, their skin is flawless. And they call it a glass face. And they have these, they're the number one skincare over in Korean, and they have sold like $2.5 billion in skincare because that's how good it is. And they just came over to America a few years ago. And I've been eyeballing it for about a year. And I'm like, I'm just going to jump in and try it. And I'm telling you what, you can, I love it.
You can see it. It's real. All right, girl. Well, I thank you so much for coming on. And if you want to leave the viewers with anything to do with recovery, what would it be?
It would be allow your mess to be a message, allow your pain to be purpose, and allow your test to be a testimony. And just have hope in yourself, believe in yourself. I know when you're in that moment, even in early recovery, you battle. Am I supposed to be here? It's so much easier this way. Learn to feel so you can heal. And I promise you, the longer you fight for yourself, the easier it gets. It's not an easy road. I'm not going to lie and say it's easy. But the more you fight for yourself, the easier it gets. And don't be ashamed of nothing you've been through, because your story is going to be hope for somebody else.
I love that. Well, guys, before we leave real quick, I want to mention that we over at Controlled Chaos are having a free Sobriety Success Seminar on August 19th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Everyone is invited. You can register in my bio. You can register any link that I have around. I have 100 links everywhere. Make sure you click on it, register, and come if you're trying to get sober, if you're newly sober within your first year, any of that. It's going to give you tips, tricks, help to get sober, not just get sober, but stay sober. And it's good for anybody from beginning days to up to a year or around there. If you're struggling to keep your sobriety, this is for you. All right, guys, I love you mucho and have the best day. Conclude this powerful episode of Controlled Chaos, a recovery podcast, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every listener who has joined us on this journey of resilience and renewal. These stories are shared with the hope that someone out there struggling in the shadows of addiction may find a glimmer of hope and inspiration. If you're listening and in need of support on your own path to sobriety, please remember that you are not alone. Visit my website at www.controlledchaoscoaching.com and schedule a discovery call today. Together we can explore the possibilities of healing, growth, and a brighter future ahead. Thank you for being a part of this community, for your courage in facing your challenges, and for believing in the power of transformation. Remember, there's always hope, and help is within reach. Until next time, stay strong, stay hopeful, and keep moving forward on your journey to recovery. Love you mucho.